Well, welcome into the Pucknologists. Sorry, we're a little late today, but it is episode 86. Since last week was kind of like a takeover, but not. But this is the official episode 86. That can be one of the lost episodes. Thanks for checking us out. I'm AJ_Strong. Rolling with me tonight. You love to see it. Hockey Jerk.
That's right. We're back in the usual confines here. We're back in Tealtown, USA's desert studio, we'll say.
Oh, man. So, hell of a week, eh?
Hey, you're not lying.
All right. So again, like we really didn't have a pucknologist, so we'll do a recap very quickly of the previous week. But you had Arizona, the game against Arizona. It's a 3-2 loss. You had Kurz coming out and saying, the mark of a bad hockey team is a team that fixes one part of the game, but then a hole springs up somewhere else. Evidently, Kurz channeling his inner Ian Reed. That's been this year's Sharks team in a nutshell. They simply look like one of the worst teams in the NHL this season. There's no other way to put it. Shall we say further evidence to that fact is the Sharks had a 6-on-3 at the end of the game and couldn't get off a shot on goal. So then St. Louis, a 5-2 loss. The Sharks looked solid through the first 40, but they go into the second intermission, tied at 2, and the wheels fall off in the third. Then you got the Vegas game, which is a 3-1 loss. The Sharks again play well through 40 minutes. Can't find whatever they need for the third period yet again. Oh, let's throw in some comments here. Hi, Adam. Hi, Jerry. Hey now, Jessica. So let's get to this week versus LA. The Sharks blow yet another one. 2-0 lead going into the third. End up losing 3-2 in overtime. And Bugner straight up calls guys out during the post game, saying that, look, you can't, put 12 guys on the roster and only have 8 or 9 show up. And evidently that led to the Sharks celebrating Festivus a little late with the airing of the grievances in the morning before the Philadelphia game that welcomed back Justin Braun. And somehow that ended up with a 6-1 victory, only the second victory in the month of December, with a Timo Meier hat trick kind of putting the nail in the coffin on that one. However, Melker Karlsson was lost in this game after taking a horrific shot to the back of the head early in the game. So, what are you thinking, Jerk?
Oh, man. Well,
What are you laughing about?
immediately thinking, you said Melker Karlsson lost in this game, and the only thing that popped into my head was, well, I hope we find him soon. But, oh, good God. This week was a
Tragic.
disaster, we'll say. Before we get into it, I want to say really quick, shout out to Jessica. She took me to the game with her against the Las Vegas Knights. Super appreciate it.
Nice.
Shout out to Jerry. Ran into him at the tank. Said what's up to him and his son. Very nice people. Just wanted to get that out of the way there. This week sucked. Like you've got Arizona, St. Louis, Las Vegas, Los Angeles. 4 games in a row where the Sharks played really well through the first 2/3 of it, and then everything just fell apart all at the same time. And I was at 3 of those 4 games, and
Maybe it was you that was the problem.
it's possible I should just never come home again. But by the LA game, I wasn't even mad. I'm just like, why the hell does this keep happening, right? And you mentioned Bugner saying, among other things, that some guys didn't step up, and I was excited when DeBoer came in because he said, well, we're going to hold everybody accountable regardless of the contract or their stature or anything. And then that kind of went away after a couple months. But so far with Bugner, he's short of name dropping. He's pretty much stuck to his guns and said, look, I don't care if you're the future. Step the F up right here, right now. And I said it on Twitter, but, Timo Meier came into that Philly game and he basically said, hey, don't scratch me, bitch. And here we are. So
I don't care if you're the future, you're about to be the past.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, Jamie McGinn.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know we talked about it following the game, following the Philadelphia game, but I can't. Is it nice to get, that second win of the month? Sure. Does this mean everything is turned around? No. One game. Let's see a little bit of consistency. This, I ran the numbers. This month of December is the second worst month of in franchise, or the second worst December in franchise history. And that says a lot when the 92-93 team only won 11 games. All right?
All year. Clarify, all year.
Yeah. So, second worst December in franchise history. That's just insane, but we move on. And I mean, what is it now? I guess it's next man up with. I'm going to just put it right out there now. I don't think I'm too far out by assuming that Melker Carlson is going to miss the game at Detroit. I don't even know if you take him on this road trip, to be honest.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. I mean, with something like that, he took a puck off the noodle, and it's obviously not like with head injuries and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we obviously don't know how serious it is, but it's not something that you want to screw around with, right? And to your point, you saying next man up. I mean, I don't want to say the Sharks have had a lot of guys who have played well, but they have a lot of guys. So why not?
Alex
why
True, step on up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They ran with the fourth line again of Melker Karlsson, Shellman, and Nason last night. And so, okay, so you take Melker Karlsson out of that, right? You've still got Suomela you can call upon if you really want to. You can call up Gambrell, Gregor, Radil, God willing. So the Sharks have options. No point in screwing around, especially with a head injury, and you're generally not supposed to get on a plane when you have a head injury. So, I mean, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. I don't know how long this road trip is. I think it's what, 4 games? Is that accurate?
Five.
5. I don't even know that you bring him, like you said. So who knows? We'll see. I mean, for all we know, the game on New Year's Eve comes around and Melker Karlsson's like, yeah, let's roll, let's do it, and everything I said makes no sense. But I don't know. I think better to be safe than sorry at this point because you don't want it to get worse.
Honestly, Milker coming out. Yeah, man, let's roll. Let's do it. Oh, okay. He clearly has a concussion. Leave him here. Yeah. So either way, right now, as it stands, at least San Jose isn't the worst team. It's still LA at this point, but San Jose still having the the worst goal differential in the conference. That's something that needs to change over the course of the week. It's so weird that you would have guys like LeBanc and Meier stapled to the bench towards the end of a period, and then Meier, of course, breaks out versus Philadelphia. Is there anybody over the course of this last week or so where you're just kind of like, well, you know what, he's doing what he's supposed to do, or is there somebody as well that you're looking at going, dude, get it together?
Who doesn't need to get it together, right? I thought it. I don't know what the hell is going on with defensemen this season, right? First month of the season, Burns was great, Carl was not. Second month of the season, Carl was great, Burns was not. December, still a little bit in Carl's favor, and we're wrapping up December here. All of a sudden, Burns steps on the ice. I'm like, all right, cool, we're dialed in. And that's not to say Carlson's been bad, but the sus breakout passes that we saw in October, they've come back a little bit now. Not as bad, not as much, but they're still there. And so I'd like it if maybe in January both of our Norris Trophy defensemen could be good. I mean, I don't think that's too much to ask for. So in terms of who people, like you said, who just keep doing what you're doing, I think it's the fourth line. I mean, I was a little pressed when they sent Noah Gregor back down, but bringing up Shellman and then obviously claiming Nason was smart, seeing as how there are a lot of nights, especially these nights where the Sharks have lost, where they've been the best line out there. And, the game against Los Angeles and the game against I want to say it was Las Vegas as well. Or yeah, Las Vegas. That line was buzzing. They were just
Yeah.
making everything happen, and I said it. I probably said it at least 4 or 5 times to Jessica, where every time they stepped on the ice, I'm like, they got to break through at some point here, and sure enough, Shellman did against the Philadelphia Flyers. So I don't know.
As did Mauro Ferraro. Hey now.
Yeah, which was exciting. I mean, who would have thought that your sturdy, chip the puck off the glass and get it out defenseman would be up in the play like that?
Yeah, that was killer, dude. That was man, Ferraro. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch over the next 5, 6, 7 years. For me, it's like you know what, liking what I'm seeing over the last 3 games is the goaltending.
Right?
The numbers have gone up. Maybe this is a Nabokov thing, maybe which makes you really wonder. Go, how was Hedberg here for so damn long? But look at Dell over the course of 2 games puts up a 920 yesterday, or I mean. During the Philly game, because we don't know when you're listening to this, but after the Philly game, Jones is like at a 963, and you're like, wait, what? Do I think he's going to get a shutout this season? I wouldn't bet any money on it, but uh, at least that for 3 games, trending in the right direction. Detroit coming at you. That's can only help things, I would imagine. So at least you have that trending in the right direction. Shimmick is supposed to be back, right? At some point.
He played against.
Did he play against Philly?
He played. He
I
he
don't
played
remember
against.
him being out there.
Yeah, against L.A. he assisted on Jumbo's goal, and then against Philly
That's
he
right.
assisted on Shellman's goal.
Wow, he's coming back slower than I assumed. Because I was like going, wait a minute, I thought he was activated. I thought he was back, and then I'm looking at and thinking in my mind, I'm going, I don't remember him really like being involved in the game, but all right, it's
Hey,
fine.
you know what though? With defensemen like him, if you don't see him, it's a good thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But the guys up front, the big money guys, the ones that you want to call out, like Couture and Kane, where you guys been lately? And even Hurdle to us, but I swear that dude, I don't know what he is fighting, but I can't wait for him to get to that league mandated break in the All-Star break. You know what I
I
mean?
Yeah, I think I mean, Bugner said it before the game against Los Angeles, where that his ankle that he was dealing with the last month or so, it's was trending in the right direction. I still think it might be bugging him a little bit, and I mean, this is really, really, really digging in here. But if you look back the last couple games, Hurdle has tied the laces completely around his skates, and I can't recall him ever doing that. I could be totally wrong on that, but it's just something I never noticed until everybody started talking about his ankle. So who knows? Maybe there's still a little bit of stability issues there. I mean, speaking as somebody who has had an ankle injury before, it is kind of hard to do a hard cut when you're worried about your foot falling off. So I think you're right. Once he gets, I mean, I don't want to be totally negative, but I don't see Hurdle making the All-Star break. So I think 10 days off will be huge for him.
Oh, absolutely. And we've also seen him shuffled a couple times where it was obviously started at center, then for a hot minute, moved to the wing, then back to center, and I believe against Philly he was back at the wing.
You're
So,
correct.
yeah. I don't know. Get well soon, buddy. Holy crap, do we need you? I was pointing it out the other day where it's tough sledding when you go from 20 or second in the league in scoring to 28th. You got to find that offense.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the standings right now, and obviously it's bleak. The Sharks are 15th out of 16 in the Western Conference, but I'm gonna be that guy. They're not out of it. They're
Not yet.
yeah, right. They're math. They're 8 points out of a playoff spot, and both of the or I'm sorry, the closest playoff spot, if you will, is held by a divisional opponent. So maybe, and it's Calgary, who has slumped very much this year. So things start going bad for other teams. The Sharks maybe, spark something here. All of a sudden, we might be back in business here. I mean, it's definitely concerning at this point in the season. I think this is the latest the Sharks have ever been in danger, or the earliest the Sharks have ever been in danger in a while.
Hmm.
But we're not totally out of it.
not totally out of it, but it's funny you bring that up because it's like this is the earliest that the Sharks have ever sent out season ticket renewals, kind of telling you that the front office not with the whole lot of confidence right now. But like you said, not out of it. Maybe we take a look at where things are at All-Star break, and maybe that's can very quickly determine if you're like what your plans are going to be.
Yeah, I mean, the Sharks when they missed the playoffs in 2014-15, they weren't out of it until February. So still time to for everything to fall apart.
Oh, dude. I just every time somebody brings that up, all I hear is Doug Wilson talking about three straight wins against LA, Anaheim, and Chicago at
Yep.
the end of January, and
Yep.
three very hot teams, very good teams at the time. And then what happened, as Jerk likes to say, you
The
know.
collapse in February.
Oh, dude, I think they won like only 3 games in February. None of them were at home. It was just
Honestly, I don't even think
epic.
it was that. I don't even think it was that good.
Yeah,
Like,
it
I
was.
think you're being very generous when you say three.
Yeah, and I can hear you like banging away on the keyboard to check that, but
I know. I want to
it's
find out.
I want to say it was 2 or 3, but
3, 7, and 2. They were 0, 5, and 2 at home and 3 and 2 on the road.
yeah. So I nailed it.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Hey, every once in a while I get one right.
Hey, you know what? Broken clock.
Twice a day. So with that, yeah, I think you kind of maybe just pencil in All-Star break and say that that could very well determine what the Sharks' plans are going forward. Do you see one piece moved or two pieces move, or do you see huge changes coming around and restructuring and understanding that, well, going to be the second time that we missed the playoffs in 6 years. Okay. Or 5, I guess. So
Still not a bad track record.
not bad, but, well, it depends on how wide your view is.
Right, right, right. How many Stanley Cups? That's
Yes.
what it boils down to. I think, I mean, how many times, right, where in this season alone there's been a total like disaster of a game, right? And then the next game the Sharks turn it around. Like I remember I think it was against Vancouver the first time this year where they just got torched and then they played Vancouver again and beat them, right? So we've seen the Sharks have had a handful of response games this year. But this game against Philadelphia, I mean, they had every reason to be pissed, right? And they came back and they smoked the Philadelphia Flyers, who are one of the hottest teams in the Eastern Conference right now. So I think they just have to stay pissed and keep their head on straight and be like, like the Sharks are, even though they lost the guys they lost, they're still a better team than a lot of teams around them, like personnel wise.
Hmm.
So as long as everything they like, if they just play the way they're supposed to and get it on straight, like we're gonna be out of this hole.
Well, you get a 5-game road trip now to kind of come back and prove that.
What a way to start it too. Am I right?
What you mean spending New Year's Eve in Detroit?
9, 28, and 3. Your Detroit Red Wings.
Oh, and that is kind of the funny thing. So what did you do to celebrate New Year's Eve? We got the hell out of Detroit.
For a quick reference, Detroit's goal differential -70. That's 7-0.
Dear God, man.
So expect the Sharks to lose. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, nice.
I mean, everybody's talking about how hard this road trip is. This is the perfect top place to start. I mean, you don't want to kick someone when they're down, right? But like, Detroit's got 9 wins on the season, and we're halfway through. The Sharks need to dummy them here. Unfortunately, you just have your way with them. Honestly, win 5-0 and say, "Look, we're not going to get pushed around."
It's that, but then it's at Pittsburgh, who have won 8 out of their last 10.
Correct.
Then Columbus, who are 6-0-4, so they've taken points in their last 10 games, even though they're 7th in their division. So that could be tough. And then, well, and I should also stipulate as well, Columbus, that's a 10 a.m. start. We know how great the Sharks are at playing morning games. And then it doesn't get any easier when you literally face the best team in the league the next morning at the Capitals. And then you have to take on the Cup champs and then come home and then face that same Columbus team. It's going to be interesting. And then, oh, yeah, by the way, after that, Joe Pavelski's homecoming. Oh, my God.
A lot of emotions. I mean,
Yeah.
I personally, for me, I'm more looking forward to Gustav Nyquist's homecoming, but
Happening just 2 nights before the Pavelski homecoming.
that's all. No, that's all I'm saying. But yeah, it's the Sharks have
Wouldn't it, dude? Wouldn't it be really funny if like both tribute videos were about the same amount of time?
I mean, the Sharks definitely have their work cut out for them here. The way I'm looking at it is like, if the Sharks just flame out here and do very poorly on this next stretch of games, I think it's the next 6 weeks where they have a lot of tough matchups here. Then it's like, okay, yeah, they're not a playoff team, and you look to next year. But
Yeah.
if they do really well in this next stretch and beat a lot of these teams who are the, I guess, high watermark of the league, then all of a sudden it's like, all right, the Sharks took these really good teams to task. So now what? You know what I mean? So it's like either way, we're going to get a pretty good indication of where things are going after this stretch.
Yeah. Well, and I also am interested to see what happens when Pavelski comes home, simply because
A lot of emotions.
well, a lot of emotions, but and I know I can't remember if we mentioned it on the last show, but I know it's been mentioned here and there. Was the comments that Brian Burke had on NHL radio? He also had them on Sportsnet. There was a couple people that kind of, in a roundabout way, supported what he said, and the gist of what he had said was, there's a lot of guys in the Sharks locker room that bleed teal. Whether like Burns, yeah, he came over from Minnesota, but like you look at him today, it's like he's a Shark. There's obviously Joe Thornton, who is just bleeds teal. You got Patty Marleau, Vlasic came up through the system, Couture. That being said, now there's a few guys that like Thornton. It would not surprise me in the least to see him spend the rest of his life in the Bay Area. Yeah, he's going to go back to his ranch every once in a while and get on the riding mower because that just looks like fun. Burns, on the other hand, I don't know. He might just end up on a ranch in Texas somewhere to spend out the rest of his time. See, that's the thing is, there's going to be guys like Danny Boyle who end up here and just embrace everything about it. And then there's going to be guys that go, well, I'm going to play there. And then once all that's over, then I'm going to go, to my forever home to paraphrase Eric Carlson. Like once Eric Carlson's done from the Bay Area, I think he's on the first plane out of town. That being said, the point, Jesus Christ, I don't know how I ended up here, but anyway, to get back what I was saying about Brian Burke and everything, was that there's a lot of people in the Sharks dressing room that have bled teal and that have made sacrifices, whether it's through the term or the financials. You look at LeBanc taking a $1 million deal. Now, granted, it's he didn't have arbitration rights and betting on himself, so to speak. Either way, an insanely team-friendly deal that a lot of Jerk, tell me I'm wrong. When that deal was signed, there was a lot of talk going around going, how the hell did they get that?
Yeah, I was penciling him in for, I didn't think it was going to be like Timo Meier where he got like big bucks, but I still thought he might get some
or something.
Yeah, I mean, no more than 3.5, right?
Yeah, but or like a bridge deal at 3 per.
Exactly, where it's like, okay, are you gonna get better from where you're at now, or is this about where you're at? I think that's where I was going for, and then I saw the 1 year, and I'm like, oh crap. But at the same time, I saw that dollar, and I'm like, all right, what a nice guy here. But I gotta say, I see where you're going with this, and I respect where you're going with this, and I think there is some validity to it, but you don't win games by being sentimental. You win games by having the best players.
Oh, and I'm not saying sentimental. That's not what I'm saying.
Because there are a lot of people who say, well, the Sharks would have won the Stanley Cup if they had kept Chichu, and it's like,
oh, Jesus Christ.
And that's kind of an extreme example, but it's like I'm saying, like, and we've seen this too, Matt Nieto, Jonas Donskoy, Chris Tierney, all these guys where it's like, oh my God, he grew up here and we love him and he's so good, but is he the best
No,
guy there?
no, but that's not the point. The point that Burke was making was that there's somewhat of a divide in the room in that.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. But this is what Burke is alluding to is that you have guys, and not to mention the fact that, hello, Pavelski was the captain and the heart of the team. We all remember what happened during the playoffs last season. We all remember his speech. Was that during the stadium game or it was just that season? Where he's just, look, guys, soft shit doesn't get it done.
Yeah,
And
that was in the Road to the Stadium series documentary.
yeah, so like clearly a big voice, a big leader.
Yeah.
And so the point Burke was making was that you've got guys that have signed team friendly deals to everybody knowing that they would get theirs when it became their turn, whether it was Hurdle signing his bridge deal, whether it was Vlasic signing a team friendly deal. Couture, I believe, at one point signed something that was considered a little team friendly. We've seen Jumbo do it like every year where he's just kind of like, sign everybody else and then I'll take whatever's left. And we also remember that Thornton, when there was the push to try to keep Marlowe, Thornton was very much like, hey, I know that you're planning on signing me for this much or what. Like, dude, shave a couple million off if it'll keep Patty here. Like, we've seen people do things like that, and then to see Evander Kane be brought in and essentially first deal as it got everything he wanted. There was no sacrifice, nothing in that way. And then the exact same thing. Carlson comes in, gets everything he wanted, no real sacrifice. And then after all that happens, you have to turn around and then tell the heart and soul of the team, your captain, oh, sorry, we just don't have enough left for you. Like, I can see why some players would react negatively to that and maybe have a little bit of resentment. I get the point that, hey, you're a paid professional, act like it, but I can also see the resentment aspect of it and just the fact that recently you saw Kane and Carlson involved in, a dust up, a skirmish, if you will, depending on whatever your terminology is, but literally like no one coming to their defense. And to me, that just gives a little bit more validity to Burke's comments, jerk.
Yeah, I mean, ugh. I think with Kane and Carlson, I think it's a situation, and I'm not going to make the argument that another team would have paid them because if that's the case, then let the team pay them that. But and I said it way
There's
back.
always going to be a team to pay you.
Right. But I said it. I said it way back when the Sharks traded for Evander Kane, where it's like, if this is the guy that you want, you have to pay this. And the Kane contract, for where the salary cap's going, it's not the worst thing in the world. The Erik Karlsson contract, it is a little sus, but again, if he starts rattling off Norris trophies, who gives a crap, right? But the Sharks, by committing these dollars, these years to these guys, it means that the Sharks, Doug Wilson Jr., Joe Will, all those guys, they want these players, and they didn't want to lose these players because if they were, it's a situation where they want these guys that they'll do whatever it takes, and maybe saying to Carlson, hey, do you want, 8 times 9, and Carlson says, no, I'm going to go somewhere else, then it's, the Sharks are like, okay, we'll give you what you want. We just want you. And I'm not saying that's the right or wrong way to look at it, but, if you identify a guy you want, go get him. You know what I mean? So I get it, but it's like, unfortunately, that's the price of doing business. And I like to Jumbo drive into the airport. That comment you pulled up, I do think that's a great example as well. And I think Kane, he was kind of with whether it was Winnipeg or Buffalo, he was always cast aside or ostracized for being different. And if you look at the Sharks roster, everybody is different. And so I feel like they kind of embraced him. Mario Ferraro has a YouTube channel, and Brent Burns hunts elk and has a beard, and all these different things. And so with Evander Kane, it was like, you're different, but that's fine. Like, be on this team. We like you. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I, I, I
I get all that, and and of course everybody's gonna do professional things, at least from the the public outlook of it at all. Who is it that Jumbo went and picked up?
Vander Kane
Yeah, I thought it was Kane.
at like 4 a.m.
Yeah. So no, and I get that part of it, uh, but the counter to that is just, well, Evander wasn't getting, hadn't signed his deal yet at that point. It was like we didn't know what was going to happen.
Right. Well, and
So
I think that's part of the courting process, right?
exactly that again, and that's something that Jumbo I'm sure recognized. But
And
anyway,
well, and I just want to say one thing too, really quickly. I feel like I say it every week, but I'm gonna say it again. If the Sharks didn't re-sign Erik Karlsson, Joe Pavelski would still not come back. The dollars were not an issue; it was the years that were an issue. There you go.
hmm So anyway, well, it'll be interesting to see. And then also if everything changes once Dallas comes, it'd be funny if like Dallas showed up, Pavelski comes in and goes, "Hey guys, so what's wrong with you pussies? I leave and what happened? It just goes like full Joker, just like what happened? Did you guys lose your balls? Like what's going on?"
It's like
So
when you're in middle school and you have a friend that's older than you who goes to high school and now he's like too cool for you and he's like, "What's up, punk?" It's like I thought we were friends.
no.
I and we kind of DM'd about this back and forth a little bit, but look, if the NHL means what they say with regards to $100 million salary cap in the next 5 years, then what does a couple extra dollars matter, right?
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see where the cap goes in the next year or two, because then you sit there and go, "Hey, look at how much money we're saving now because we've got Couture and Kane and Vlasic and Carlson and all these guys locked up for long term."
Yeah.
Like it might look great, and it's like, "Hey, we can finally afford a new goalie."
And I will say too, this year is kind of a crappy year in terms of like payroll and stuff, but assuming Dalton Prout has just been canceled at this
Oh,
point, and then
Jesus Christ! Why is that guy here? Is he to
and
like
then
pick up pucks after practice or something?
right, and I'm just looking at this now, like this year reminds me a lot of like 16-17, where it's like the Sharks got some like crap to go through money wise, but if they can get through it, then things are going to get a little bit easier. $1.4 million in a Paul Martin buyout, that's gone. $800,000 in a Dalton Prout cap hit, that's gone. Aaron Dell, if he plays well enough to get re-signed, he's not making any more than he's making now.
No.
The cap's going to go up at least $1.5 million. So there's all these little nuggets here, and you're going to put it all together, and it's going to be a nice little chunk here that's going to help us out here. And
Well, and you're going to have to make the decision on whether you want to continue with Brendan Dillon as well.
Right, and that's again to your point earlier about guys, taking the haircut because they like it here. I'm on record as saying like I absolutely see Brendan Dillon being the guy who's like, I want to be here, just give me whatever. 100%, I see Brendan Dillon being like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we shall see. I think, like I said, cap hell right now, but it's gonna in about what month is December? In about 6 or 7 months, it's gonna be better. It's gonna be fine. Gonna clear a lot of dead money out. We're gonna be good.
I would hope so. All right, so that's kind of it, I think, for the Sharks and what we've seen so far. Again, we're going to be with you. This is the last show, obviously, of 2019, but we'll be with you following at least the evening after the Washington game. And excuse me, there'll be 4 games played by then. And if the Sharks go 0-4 during this stretch, then you sit there and go, yeah, okay, so Philadelphia was an anomaly, and this is the team we have right now, and that's it. Because I will say that Philadelphia game, like, it felt like everybody was playing for each other. It felt like people were on the right page. They were doing what they needed to. Like, they were playing extra. They were getting to the right spots. They weren't lollygagging, as we have seen here and there. So I like that part of it. Let's see if that can continue and not be, let's let that be the rule rather than the exception. And we'll talk about that next week, obviously. And so let's go to, let's dive into the hot takery bakery. The All-Star votes are in, ladies and gentlemen, and we have our captains. The thing that I think is so damn funny about this, though, of course, is that when they announced it, and it's like, McKinnon and McDavid and who was it? Pasternak and somebody. Who's the other one?
Ovechkin,
Ovechkin.
but he pulled out.
So many women that probably say that about him. But hey,
He has a wife.
well, before her. Anyway. Anyway, I just love the announcement where it's like, I forget I wish I had it here in front of me, but it said something, like after tallying X millions of votes, and it's like, yeah, you're going to get this inflated number when you allow people to vote for, 2 months and they can vote 10 times a day. It's like, get the hell out of here. Whatever.
We had this many votes. Everybody on the planet voted 3 times. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So, F you.
David Pasternak had 8 billion votes. Can you believe it?
Well, and so what's the penalty if you don't play? You miss the game before and after, or just the one after?
You get a 1 game suspension, but you have the luxury of choosing before or after. If it were me, I choose the game before, then you get yourself a 12-day vacation instead of a 10-day vacation.
Well, yeah, obviously that, but no, for me, it's look, you're refusing to go, you're opting out, and then they also tell you, oh, by the way, we're so nice, you can choose whichever. No, F you. This is the game that you're missing. You're missing the first one after the break.
I disagree. If you don't want to play in the All-Star game, I don't think you should be suspended. There
needs to be some sort of penalty.
I guess, but the NHL, a majority of the NHL's eyes don't come from the All-Star game, right?
Oh, I get it, but it's the whole idea of the people that buy tickets for that whole thing and they spend all the money to travel and go to wherever it is. Like, if you're a Caps, at least Ovechkin was nice enough to put it out there now. But could you imagine the huge Caps fan who, I don't know, has family in St. Louis and, oh my God, I'm going to get to see my family, blah, 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 and then I get to see Ovechkin, and then you come, and you've made your plane ticket purchase, and then Ovi comes out, and then you're like, well, fuck, Or to quote somebody from the Philly game last night, holy fuck! I love hot mics on an NHL game.
And speaking of speaking of hot mics, I think I am not confirmed if I heard this or not, but in the game against the Flyers from Philadelphia, Erik Karlsson takes a shot from the point. It gets blocked, and I'm pretty sure Erik Karlsson said, "What the fuck? Come on, Erik." And that's not totally unheard of either, because I know last season he tried to go D to D to someone and it totally botched, and he was like, Carl, come on. But he's talking to himself, which I think is hilarious. So, but just going back to the All-Star game though, I get it, right? If you're named to it, and you have the fan who's going for just you, I get it. But at the same time, Ovechkin, he wants to. It's at the same time, it's admirable what he's doing. He wants to stay fresh for his team to try and make a long run and obviously try and win another Stanley Cup here. And he even said, he has to listen to his body.
Yeah, but then my whole thing is, then move the All-Star game to after they hand out the cup. Let's
so much.
I'm sorry.
I said you and I have talked about that so much.
Yeah, just move it to the after they do it, treat it essentially. Well, obviously you can't do it like football where they they play it during the off week between the championship games and the Super Bowl. I get that aspect of it, but do it a week after, or you make it part of the awards. Make it part of the awards weekend. Just do it then. Because guys they're not playing physical, they're going out there, they're dicking around 3-on-3. Really, just make it part of the whole NHL awards weekend.
See, if it were me, I would make it part of preseason. Because what better way to get people away? Oh yeah, you spent the summer watching stupid baseball. Hockey's back. All-Star game, let's go. And then the weekend after that, boom, regular season, donezo.
Yeah,
that's why I liked the World Cup 3 years ago, because it was everybody's like, the Giants suck. And it's like, I don't care. The World Cup's on, you
Well,
know?
yeah, no, you do it sometime over the summer, and like you said, you know you can do it a week after that. But then again, I kind of like your idea a little bit better because let's be honest, after 4 rounds and they finally hand out the cup, by then you know I'm after 82 games, then 2 months of playoff hockey, I'm like hockeyed out. I need a fucking break. So putting it, you know, just to kind of like be the quote unquote unofficial start for the following season, I like that idea. And, you know, it's something that you can push and to be kind of an opening thing for the season. Yeah, I like the idea. And what I really like about the idea is that the fact that you're actually rewarding players or using players that had a good season, not a first 2 month and a half when they start doing on the votes, but you know, contingent on the actual season they had.
Well, and
So
you and I have talked about this too, where it's like, I'd like to go to past All-Star games, look at who went, and then from the first game back to the end of the season, what did that player do? And then at the same time, guys who weren't picked also
yeah,
see what they did post All-Star break. Because I know I'm trying to remember there was one, and it's funny, I have Ovechkin stats up right now because I was going to make another point, but I know with Alexander Ovechkin in 14-15, he had 53 goals, and I want to say like 30 of them were after the All-Star break.
yeah. No, that's been the again. You saying that we talked about it. Absolutely, that you'll see some guy just rip off an incredible first 6 weeks of the season, gets named to the All Star game, and by the time the All Star game is actually played, he's already like gone off a cliff, and the rest of his year has been horrible. Like never should have been an all-star. And then yeah, conversely, you'd have a player that is a slow start. Eric Carlson, slow starter.
Yeah.
And then, you know, although he is the only shark, I think was he the only one named?
What?
Was Eric Carlson the only one named to for the Sharks for the
La-
All-Star?
Last year?
No, like this year.
Well, no, nobody. Only the captains have been named.
But wasn't Carlson like he was the one to get votes for the Sharks?
No, it
I thought it
was
was
Carl.
Couture and
It
Carlson.
was it was Couture, Kane, Burns, and Hurdle and
Okay, that
Jones.
doesn't sound right.
Yeah,
All
no,
right,
I remember
whatever.
it standing out because I remember thinking, why is Burns there and Carlson isn't? That's like I remember.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. From that hot takery bakery, we leave and we know where things are a little bit hot. We go down to Arizona for a hot second because they got Taylor Hall. Jerk, Mr. Hashtag Mayotes. Do you love to see it?
You do love to see it.
Dude,
Arizona.
I heard some shit, and you'll have to confirm this with me. I saw a quote, and I don't know if this is like an onion type of a quote,
Sure.
but it said something like Taylor Hall, like a quote of something that he had said was something like, "I'd rather take my junk and stick it into like a cup of broken glass than play in New Jersey again." Like,
Jesus.
was it right? So I'm like, did you hear that too? Like,
Oh,
or was that somebody like being a smartass? Because the way I saw it written was like, yeah, that was kind of like an off the record quote kind of a thing.
yeah. My first time hearing that was when you said
Oh,
it.
okay. So can neither confirm nor deny. Anyway, Taylor Hall to Arizona, your Yotes.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona's been one of the best defensive teams this season, right? And then now they turn around and they get probably one of the best left wingers in the NHL. And he's already made an immediate impact. I mean, 4 points, 4 points in the 6 games he has played with them so far, which is a good little start for him. And if you,
Three
if,
game losing streak, but go ahead.
yeah, but I mean, if you extrapolate that over, the amount of games he played with New Jersey this year, he's at the same pace. So there's no adjustment period, we'll say, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that's obviously good for them. And I watched a little bit of the Arizona Coyotes game tonight against the Dallas Stars, and they started out really strong. They ended up blowing it and they lost. But the first half of the game, it was just like business as usual, dialed in. We're not gonna take anything. It was like 2-0, like at the snap of a fingers, and shots were like ridiculously in their favor. So I think Taylor Hall coming in, it's been huge for them. And, I've said it before, but once Nick Hjalmarsson comes back, a good defense is going to get better. Darcy Kemper, who weirdly enough probably had the inside track for the Vezina this year, he's hurt, so
Yeah.
they're relying on Antti Ranta, who's no slouch either. But once Kemper gets back, I think a lot of stuff is obviously going to go well for them. And I just want to say really quickly, back onto our All Star Game conversation, if you'll indulge me here for a second. So in 2015-16,
I'm sorry, we're out of time. No, go ahead.
2015-16, Leo Komarov, who was an All-Star, he had 19 goals that year. 16 of them were before the All-Star game.
Proving my point, sir. I love it.
Yeah. So there you go. I just wanted to give that to you real quick. But
You know
Arizona.
what, though? No, I'm
What's up?
sorry. Well, no, this is just very odd that we, because we're on the Periscope, we get the hearts, or at least we're on Periscope now. This will be on YouTube later, but we get the hearts. And I guess after 400, it resets to 0 on our software. Anyway, just something that stood out to me. Very odd. I don't know. I don't understand why it wouldn't continue counting, but there you go.
Just means we need to get that number back up there. So
Yeah.
that's
All
your
right.
cue.
Go
But
ahead.
with Arizona, I mean, the goals have been few and far between. They've been more defense heavy, but they've got a lot of guys. They don't really have anybody who's quote unquote great right now in terms of scoring, but they have a lot of guys who are doing good. You know what I mean? They have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have 7 guys who are scoring half or more, or a little more than half a point per game. So like over the course of an 82 game season, that's if you've got, almost 10 guys who are going to put up almost 50 points, like that's some pretty good depth scoring. I mean, you don't have a superstar, but you've got maybe 6 or 7 stars,
Yeah.
if we can get into semantics there. Um,
Here we go.
yeah, they've slipped to third in the division, but I still think overall the course of the whole season, they've probably been the best Pacific Division team. So we'll see.
Well, funny you bring that up. Let's talk about the division for a hot sec. Right now, Vegas has taken over the top spot, 2 points below Vancouver, right in there with them, Arizona. So those are your top 3. It's been very interesting the way that Edmonton has driven off a cliff and Vancouver has clawed back.
I don't find it interesting that Edmonton's went off a cliff. You saw that coming.
Yeah, there was no way they were going to sustain that. And that's, again, we can get into that. It's as soon as you knew that McDavid and Draisaitl are going to hit some sort of a dry patch at some point. Like, it just has to happen, right?
Yeah, it was inevitable, right? And I mean, they're still both having really ridiculous seasons. I mean, it's December and they've both hit 60 points, right? Which is stupid. But, so 63 and 61 for McDavid and Draisaitl. The third place on their team has 26.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Okay, I might have been wrong. Maybe it was 1,000 hearts because we're currently at 700 right now. And I was do I hear 8? Can I get an 8? Can I get an 8? And we have 800. We have 800. Can I get 9? Can I get 9? So anyway, but yeah, nobody wants to win the goddamn Pacific.
which is good for the Sharks.
Oh, absolutely. We're coming in on 1,000, coming in on 1,000. Oh, and we're over 1,000. So, okay, that was really weird why that reset. But anyway, I digress. Whoever's doing that, it's awesome. The power of Christ compels you, I suppose. If you want to keep going for it, love it. Anyway, but yeah, 4 points separating 1 through 5. Nobody wants this goddamn division, specifically if you reside in the state of California. You really don't want this fucking division right now. Holy hell. And then St. Louis on the, conversely has finally, it took them a little bit to like get their, maybe you call that a little bit of a post cup hangover, but now they're back on top firmly, 8 points ahead of Colorado in second. And then remember Dallas early on was in the crapper and now they've clawed their way back in their third. So it can happen. Don't know that it's going to happen in San Jose, but it can happen, people.
Well, and even if you want to jump over to the East real quick, Tampa Bay was in dire straits for a lot of the first third of the season, and
now they're a point
back.
out.
Yeah, they're clawing back all of a sudden. So, like, definitely that expression where you can lose your playoff spot by Thanksgiving, like 100% is applicable. But at the same time, it's like, You're not out of it
No,
until you're out of it.
yeah, you're not totally out. And Winnipeg, Jesus, I mean, only 3 points out of the third spot. And I mean, somebody needs to buy Hellebuck like a Rolex, a Rolls Royce. Like, I mean, holy crap. But anyway, let's move on. Where are we at clock time? Okay, we got about 10 minutes or less. So let's just bang these out and get the hell out of here. Yep, because we started late, so we're going over time a little bit. So, Baby Yoda, what do we all think? No, I'm kidding. That'll be another show. That'll be on Discord later.
Star Wars has been canceled. Please stop.
So, the Sharks, to get back to the Sharks, have introduced a new fan club, the 1991 Club. I don't really know what this is. It says it's a global fan club. And I guess if you throw them $20, they're going to give you like a lapel pin. And I guess a exclusive podcast once a month. I don't know. Trying to find out more details, and in fact, we do plan on speaking with Douglas Murray next month to dive into this whole thing a little bit, because I felt, honestly, that the details are a little ambiguous, so I'd like to get more clarification as to what this whole fan club thing entails. So just putting that out there. The other thing that I had mentioned was the Sharks have sent out season ticket renewals earlier than they ever have, based on all the comments that I've seen from season ticket holders. Are they sending them out this early because of the horrible December that the team had? Who knows? But the thing that I think everybody needs to keep an eye on, why are the Sharks using their old crest in the emails? Is that indicative of something that's to come in the future?
Are they really?
Yeah, have you not seen it?
Well, I'm not a season ticket holder, so I don't get those emails.
Well, no, I think they went out to a lot of people, but I believe they were also used on what you call it? That social media thing. But the emails,
Not the Sharks plus SAP Center app. With
that's
every
just
update,
wrong, sir.
that app gets worse with every update.
You are not wrong. Ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. Sorry. Let's see. I mean, I don't know if I can pull up something. Excuse me while I whip this out. But the advertisement, or at least the email that I've gotten, and all indicators for, hey, come on, be a season ticket holder for us. We got you. Let me see. Renew your membership. Listed right here. Excuse me. God, I got to get rid of this cough. But yeah, if you go to the Sharks website and hit the Sharks 365 renew my membership, it has a graphic that says, season ticket member Sharks 365, but it uses this old logo. I'm gonna, you know what? For those of you watching right now, I'm gonna see. Oh, by the way, for the heart counters out there, we're at 4,200. We thank you. Let me see if I can't drop this in. And wouldn't it be funny to drop it in like right? Oh, it's a different format. But anyway, I thought it would have been really funny if we could have dropped it in over Hockey Jerks logo. But hey, everybody, how's it going? Let's just drop this in, shall we? Booyah! There's your graphic. Let me make it just a scotch bigger, shall we? Floating graphics. How cool. Oh, I think I'm going to do the show like this from now on. But anyway, that's the logo. So what does that say? You know what I mean? Like, is that a little, shall we say, hey now, why are we using this old logo? I don't know. It's going to be...
Well, and somebody said in the Periscope chat, too, that, where was it? Wow. Next season is the 30th season. So maybe that's something. And I know Jerry talking about the neon... neon playoff mode as well.
I think though that they use that because trying to put the current logo in neon would be disastrous. Like the original logo lends itself a bit more to the neon art. So and Sleepy asking us, have we done the 91 Sharks membership? No, I haven't yet, but I do plan to, just
You're gonna do
because.
that, really?
You know why I want to do it for 1 year, just to see what it is. So when we sit here and talk,
You want to get a scarf?
I don't know that it comes with one, but if it does, sure. But that's not what it's about. It's about the idea of being able to honestly tell you, like, what do you get? What do you actually get with this whole deal? Is it worth it? It's like when I did whatchamacallit. I don't know, what did I call it? The what's that company? Oh, Fan Box. So that thing where you
Oh,
like
that's
pay
a
them.
stupid thing.
Yeah, the thing where you pay like $80 and then they send you a box of random crap.
And they send you $70 worth of stuff.
Yeah, you send them $80 and they send you $60 worth of shit back. But yeah, I did it. But I did an unboxing and went through each item that I got. And it was, there was a pint glass and there was a mini pennant and there was a shirt or whatever it was that came with it. But I went through each one just to give everybody an idea of what you actually get if you do this. And I also kind of went through and tallied it up. Like, okay, is this roughly $80 worth of stuff? Roughly it was. It was. I'll give you that. But is it stuff that I would have actually bought individually on my own? And aside from one or two things, no. So it's you do you, but I at least want to give you the I want to let you know like what's actually happening. So I'll probably do that just to see. Anyway, back to them using the logo. Remains to be seen what happens for next season, but it is the 30th. We saw them go Heritage on the 25th. Maybe they're going to do something more for the 30th. Whatever. Finally, I've been waiting all night to talk about this, of course, because it's what I do, and we only have a couple minutes left. If you want to have some fun, get on Twitter after you're done watching this. And by the way, for the heart person, you are currently, and I'm assuming that's Jessica because she likes doing this stuff, but you are currently at, we're waiting on it, we're waiting on it, we're waiting on it, and you have hit 7,000. Thank you. Just giving you a running tab. Fanatics, want to have some fun?
Oh,
Get on,
no.
get on Twitter and just search Fanatics jersey. That's all you need to do. And then just let the entertainment wash over you because, oh my God, it is just story after story of Fanatics screwing up orders, saying that the order will be there before Christmas, and people are tweeting the day after Christmas going, still haven't gotten my goddamn order from Fanatics that they said I would get, or the amazing amount of jersey screw ups where it's
Snossus.
yeah, Snossus instead of Scissons. That was the best. But no, like straight up getting like the right jersey, but like they ordered a couture, and ended up with a Ferraro.
What?
Yeah, it would be stuff like that, and you're like they got one number off or something. Oh, they must have meant 38. Put Ferraro on it. Speaking of which, by the way, just a quick side note: if you go back and listen to Randy's call on Ferraro's goal, he says he actually says number 8 instead of 38. Go back. I rewound it twice to listen.
He also, after Ferraro's goal, evidently Shellman was on the ice, and he said maybe Shellman will get his first NHL goal too.
Yeah. No,
he did. So,
no,
Mr. Randy Hahn, foreseen.
Yeah, no, he was no. The people were asking for lottery numbers after that, but yeah, he did say number 8 instead of 38 on that, which I got a kick out of. And this is not the first time he has done one of these. You go back and look. It was when Stalock got his first shutout. And Randy on the call goes, Alex Stalock gets his first NHL hat trick. Wait, what? But, it's bound to happen. You're thinking of different things. But either way, it's just fun. But, yeah, if you want to have a good time, get on Twitter. Look at the Fanatics stuff. It's quite funny. But the other thing, too, I've been in the Shark store a couple times over the last month. Go look at the Sharks Instagram, the Shark Store Instagram. You'll also see that the amount of Fanatics merch is slowly dwindling. It's getting less. They are not pushing Fanatic stuff anymore, which is nice to see. I'm not seeing as much in the store. Very nice to see. But oh God, who is? There was some poor son of a bitch who ordered a Thornton jersey, and when they got it, a Fanatics Thornton jersey, when they got it, the name bar was already peeling off. I mean, just some quality works craftsmanship coming out of the Fanatics warehouse. Sorry, guys. I'm going to keep beating this drum until that company is like out of the NHL, or at the very least that they have nothing more to do with the Sharks. I don't know how long that deal is, but God, I can't wait for it to be over. Their merch is just so horrific. And what's funny is I get it that there's a couple. Every once in a while, I'll see somebody defend Fanatics. They'll say, "Oh, it's a really, you know what? They make nice jerseys. They're comfy and they fit. I really like. They fit better than an Adidas one." You know who usually are saying this? Women, because Adidas makes authentic style jerseys. They don't, and they don't make a women's cut because
They actually did for, now that I think about it, they did for the World Cup of Hockey.
They did Adidas did a women's cut version?
Yeah, I actually forgot about that until just now.
You know what? Boy, if they really wanted to stick it to Fanatics, they would do that. They should totally do that. Adidas, dude, go start making kids' jerseys, women's jerseys. Make them all, dude.
Dog jerseys.
Yeah, those two. By the way, for those of you keeping track, Jessica's 300 away from hitting 10,000 on the heart scale. So with that, we always say we're going to do about 45 minutes, and that's always a lie. I don't know how we do this. So join us next week for show 87. Not sure what we're going to talk about then. It's either going to be really good or really bad. Am I wrong, Jerk?
I am unsure.
Really bad.
It's either wrong or it's either wrong. Jesus, it's either good or it's bad. Logic would tell you it's one or the other, but I've been surprised before.
I don't know. It's going to be following that Washington game, and that just gives me
yes, the Crapitals.
Yeah, the heebie-jeebies. The heebie-jeebies. And then St. Louis. Oh, we'll also have the outdoor game to discuss, right? Nashville and Dallas.
Winter Classic After Dark. You heard it here first.
Yeah, come back, y'all. Here.
All I'm saying, this is all I'll say about the outdoor games, because I see D. Healy asking if it's lost its luster. No, it's still like one of the coolest things ever. Maybe just a skosh because they have it's the same principle and they've got 5 different marketing terms for it. Sure, I'll give you that. But
it's
still
what it is?
Pretty cool. And I'm not going to say I have it on good authority. I'll say I have it on authority. The Sharks might be involved in one of these in the next 5 years.
Yeah, which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, things went off fantastically for the Stadium Series. It worked out really well. How would you not want to do something at AT&T right there on the water? It's a great venue, and
or the A's new stadium,
if that ever fucking happens.
Yeah,
been hearing about that for 15 years. But yeah, I'd love to see. I mean, things worked really well at Levi's, so I could see them, maybe coming up. The only thing that makes me kind of go, I don't know, is only because they. In the last 5 years, they've had both an outdoor game and the All-Star game. So that's why I sit there and go, well, maybe it's going to be a few years before we see San Jose host another event. But
you say that, and I will raise you a Colorado getting an outdoor game and 2 international games in 3 seasons.
You make a fair point. But my thing is, if San Jose is involved in another outdoor game in the next 5 to 7 years, I have a feeling they might be the visitor.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't hate that.
Yeah.
You'll see me there. I'll tell you that right now. That's ever since they brought back the international game, I've been waiting for the Sharks to get tagged for one of those. I would if they were oh, Timo Meier's from Switzerland, so the Sharks, you're going to play like Hockey Club Davos, and it's like I'll see you there. I'll get my bag packed, and we'll meet in Davos. We'll have a chocolate bar together.
Swift Smith. I I just when it comes to the outdoor game like losing a little bit of the luster, I do kind of feel it a little bit like I, I don't know. It's it's a cute marketing gimmick, but remember like what was it like 5 years ago they had like five 1 year. It was like three
Yeah.
stadium games, a Winter Classic, plus the Heritage game in Canada, and it's like okay, enough already.
Yeah, it was 2014. There was a Winter Classic, four Stadium Series games, and a Heritage Classic.
Yeah, it's overkill. It's like what you do. You do it fine. Do your New Year's Eve Winter Classic thing. That's fine. Do your Canada Heritage thing. Fine. Do one stadium game, maybe two if you like. Do it. Where okay, the Eastern Conference gets a stadium and the Western Conference gets a stadium game. There you
It's
go.
it's called the Stadium Series, which implies more than one, right?
Yeah, but that can be over several years.
Also true. Yeah, I mean, I still think it's a cool concept. Their game, I always get up for those games just because I think they're fun to watch, just because of the
Well,
different atmosphere.
let's be honest, you get it for those games because you're like, oh, new jerseys to look at, bitches.
You might be right there. All I'm gonna say is, the Heritage Classic this year was one of few outdoor games where both teams had a really slick jersey. So special place in my heart for that one.
Going to disagree with you there, but okay.
Copy that. So
All subjective.
the
All
one
subjective.
what bothers me about the outdoor games, and we'll say this quick, and then we'll
I was
jump
going to
over
say
to
we're
this
never
part.
going to finish this fucking show.
Um,
Go ahead.
The thing that bothers me is 2017 was like obviously the centennial of the NHL. It's a big year, right? So January 1, it's like, yeah, we're going to have the Centennial Classic. We're celebrating the 100th anniversary. And then go to the end of the year, and they have another outdoor game to celebrate the centennial of the NHL, except it's called something completely different. You have you have the Centennial Classic, and then you have the NHL 100 Classic. And
Do y'all
same
not know what centennial means?
same concept, same desired outcome, different name.
Yeah.
And I get it. Cash is king. But some consistency would be nice.
Yeah. And D. Healy mentioning, what about putting the All-Star game
Dude,
outdoors?
I've been saying that for like 5 years, and the NHL won't return my calls.
I'll do you one better. All-Star game outdoors, rollerblades.
Jesus.
Summer All-Star game, rollerblades, bitches.
What if, okay, or talking about trying to make the Winter Classic, make it cool again, right? And combining the Winter Classic with the All-Star game, something I've suggested, 100%. What if they combined the Winter Classic with the international game? Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Just let me paint a picture. Like
Oh, shit. We're never going to finish this.
random teams, like Rangers and
Lightning?
Blackhawks, like original six, if that's your flavor,
Oh, Christ.
At-
Arbitrary six. Go
at
ahead.
Wembley.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
How lit would that be?
That could be pretty yeah, that could be pretty tight. I could see that. We should probably get out of here.
But Jessica's almost at 15,000.
Yeah, I know. I was just about to point that out. Like her fingers got to. Oh, she stopped at 13,295.
That's okay. I'm gonna
fingers,
open.
Her fingers
I'm
got to
gonna.
be.
I'm gonna
at the
keep
nub.
it going. I opened
Christ.
Periscope. I'm keeping it going.
Here we go. All right, let's just stop already. So that's it, everybody. Pucknologists 86 in the books. I can't believe we did it again. God damn it. We can't ever not just do a tight 45. I don't know what it is. We have to stop. Follow us on social media, YouTube, because at some point we'll get out of YouTube jail and be back on there. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit. Remember to follow us on Twitter to get our little Discord link that we put there from time to time for our little virtual green room after shows. All right. So, Jerk, final thoughts please don't take a lot of time on this one. Final thoughts on where the people can find you on the social media.
So, final thoughts. You know what? Sharks are in a bad spot right now, standing wise, but they're not out of it yet. And if the game against Philadelphia is indicative of anything, it's going to be a fun ride to the end here. Just want to say one more time, shout out to Jessica for the ticket to the Vegas Knights game. Shout out to Jerry for being just super cool guy to talk to. And shout out to our own Rocket Backhander. She, for
What?
Christmas,
Oh, okay.
this is
Go
my
ahead.
final thought. This is my final thought.
Oh, that's right. Well, I didn't want to release any news that she didn't want to release herself, but I don't know
No,
what you're about to say, so go ahead.
for Christmas, she purchased me a letter opener that is shaped like a hockey stick.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and for those who don't know, I'm notoriously awful at opening letters. So I really got a kick out of it, and I really enjoyed it. So Rocket, thank you very much for that.
I would totally take one of those. You know, she lived with me for like 4 months, and I don't get a present. That's not right. But you know what I can say? I still get her mail from time to time. That's my present, I guess.
Follow me on Twitter at hockey_jerk.
Hey now.
We're almost to 1,200, so big things happening.
Oh, 12. I got you. And tell a friend to follow tealtownusa on Twitter. We're almost at 5K, so that would be cool to hit. I don't know they're going to make it by New Year's, but we shall see. I'm AJ_Strong on Twitter if you want to follow me there, or Instagram or whatever. But that's it. Again, my final thought is one of these days we'll put together a tight 45. This was not, of course, one of those days. With that, we will see you following the Detroit game on Tuesday to help you. Well, somebody will be here. It won't be me because I'm going to be out celebrating New Year's Eve. So with that, we bid you a nice adieu and go 49ers. Good job taking the NFC West, boys. With that, we will see you all next time. So, and Barracuda, win a goddamn game once in a while, would you? You're killing me, guys. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will catch you all next week for episode 87. Keep it real. Keep it teal. Do that real teal thing. Good night, everybody.
We'll see you on Discord in 58 seconds.
Oh, and as soon as we're about to go off, Jeannie decides to join. Jeannie, join earlier next time. Join when we start, not when we finish. Good night, everybody.